Hello, everyone, and welcome to Next to None podcast. I have Chris Climer with me here. Chris is a good friend of mine, but he's also someone that has started his entrepreneurial journey with his own business, True North Creative. Chris, say hello and tell
Yes.
us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, hello. Yeah. So, I mean, you and I go years back. I don't actually have
I
a
know.
lot of I don't have a lot of people like you where I still stay in touch and stuff like that. So this has actually been a really cool thing for me is just being able to still stay in touch with people. But yeah, no, oh my gosh, November was my last time working for someone. And so I have been on this entrepreneurial journey for what are we going on 3, 4 months now. And it's been a lot of fun. It's nerve wracking, right? Like with anything new, it's nerve wracking, but it's been a lot of fun. I'm learning a lot of stuff. I'm growing. And yeah, hopefully it continues.
But you're not totally new. You've done things on the side for years, right?
Yeah, I've done things on the side, but this has been more of a it's like the stuff on the side. I honestly would say the stuff on the side was probably some of my worst time that I've actually done work for people because it was so focused on I need to keep my full-time job that I would lose sight of who I was serving. Where now I get to set my sights fully on who I'm serving, which for me is awesome because it's in my nature. That's who I am. I don't want to say I'm a people pleaser, but I do love to help as many people as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Because not everybody has the ability to do what larger companies can do, right? I'll use the example of churches. I worked at a church, we worked together and I struggled with there are other churches out there that need what I can do, but they don't have the resource to be able to do that. And so for me, it's more about who am I supposed to be and what have I been called to do? And that's part of why I've started the journey that I'm on is because I feel like I'm supposed to help as many people as I possibly can, especially those like I love to focus. I would love to always focus on churches and nonprofits, just to help them with the needs that they have because they have a story just as like anyone else, but sometimes they don't have the resources to do it. And I believe everybody should get a chance to be able to tell their story,
Yeah.
because they all are important.
So I know what you do, but tell our listeners what you do.
Yeah, that's probably would help, right? So I would say I do multitude of things. What I tell people is we're a creative marketing team. I have people that I help work with. I focus mainly on strategy, video, website, but I do have graphic designers and other people who can help me. And our main goal, like I said before, is just to help smaller businesses. I mean, we can help larger businesses. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to not help a large business if they're going to come and ask us, right? That would be stupid of me. But we really want to help. I don't want to call them underdogs, but maybe little dogs. I want to help them because I think sometimes they get overlooked because they don't come with $30,000, $100,000, $1 million, or whatever it is. And so that's who we look to help is to help them with their story on their website. The way I describe it quickly is everybody judges us the don't judge a book by its cover kind of a thing. That is 100% what we as humans do. We will judge everything by its cover, right? So if you don't have a good website and people can't get the information quickly, they're probably going to move on. If you're not consistently doing social media, they're probably going to move on. And that's sad because sometimes all you really have to do is help people put a better cover on their book and they, in theory, should get more interaction. And so that's kind of what we want to help. I love to help people build foundations that they can build on top of, not necessarily hey, you always need to keep paying me to do something. I want to help you become self-sustainable or at least create a plan that you can handle to help with consistency.
Yeah, no, that's really good. I would say one of my biggest struggles is that I do want to help everyone. And so I tend to undercut myself at times. And I know you might
Yep.
have that struggle as well.
Yeah.
Um, how do you keep yourself
Yeah. No,
motivated?
it's definitely one of those where it's like, oh, you only have that shirt, I'll do it. And then you like it's 3 in the morning, you're like, why did I say I was gonna do this? But I said I would do it, so now I've got to do it. And so, but I don't I kind of believe in the how you help people, it will come back around. You know, it I don't want to say I'm looking for two customers. I want a lot of customers. I don't, I would feel bad if all I did was help 2 or 3 people. Um, I was talking to somebody else the other day. My family has sacrificed a lot for me doing ministry, and now I'm kind of turning around and I want to work for them,
Yeah.
right? And so, yeah, I'm not opposed to any kind of client, but I do look for nonprofits and smaller brands to help with.
I will say though, if you own a business and you want someone to tell your story of your business really well, I've seen a lot of people and I have a couple other people that I think do a really good job, but Chris is a great storyteller in video. And if you want your brand to be understood and put out there on a video, like even if you're not a church or nonprofit, I know he'll take you on as a client. And if that is you, I'm telling you, he does beautiful work. And there's been many stories and videos that he has captured that really tug at my heart, just knowing the story behind the what behind the why. And he does a great job at that. So shameless plug for you, Chris.
No, I
Oh,
appreciate it. No, I really appreciate it. And that's our philosophy just in general as a company is no matter what kind of conflict you're in, like if let's say you and I were mad at each other, right?
that's
And we
never
actually
happened.
just no, never happened, never happened, never, no, no, no. But we actually just sat down and told each other, hey, this is what I was going through, this is what I'm doing, this is how it's been. All of our guards immediately go down. They all go down, and we start to have empathy and sympathy for people. And now I can really connect with you. And so that's kind of our whole idea is we want to get you out there. The whole Simon Sinek, it's super simple thing, right? You begin with why. Why do you do what you do? And I don't know if it's true yet. Like I haven't kept the stats yet, but every time I sell why, I usually get people to say yes.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you tell me, hey, why do you do what you do? Most of the time people are going to connect with you.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I want to help people. And that's why the nonprofit sector really speaks to me and tugs to me because a lot of people don't get that out there. A lot of them, it's, I need the money, I need the money, I need the money, which totally understand, right? Here's the sad puppies. Here's the sad kitty cats. Please come adopt them. But why did you start said center? Why did you start said thing? And it just brings a different mindset to how people connect.
Yeah. It reminds me of the story brand, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the story brand process, like you have the hero and that kind of all ties into the why, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, that's how it. So like I've got like in all of our steps and processes and stuff like that, like we'll meet with a bunch of people to actually figure out who the best hero is. Because sometimes the hero is not the CEO. Sometimes the hero is the janitor.
Yeah.
Like sometimes the hero is the graphic designer or, the person who's in the back who can really talk about the company and what the company as a whole does.
Right.
And so, yeah, like that's, yes, all of a sudden, then you've got your Jedi, your Obi-Wan Kenobi who's helping you get along, which is usually your product, right? And people just don't know how to walk through that process sometimes. They get so stuck in the ask that they don't sell the why.
Yeah.
And for me, that's our biggest thing. We want to help you to get past the ask and get into the why.
Yeah. That's so good, Chris. Thanks for sharing that. Chris, Chris and I met a couple weeks ago. I don't know, maybe it was a month ago or maybe it was more than that. I don't remember when we had coffee last time.
It wasn't last year. It was last year, like a couple of months ago.
Well, Well, anyways, Chris and I were talking about this podcast that I was going to be launching, and I'd already recorded several and all this stuff. And he was like, "Let me help you." And so Chris actually is a sponsor of our podcast. He does all the editing, thank God, because I am really not great at that. I know my skills, and that is not one of them. But I am very appreciative of Chris, and I want to give him a shout out because he does do that. And I keep telling him make a commercial so that we can play it somewhere in this, and he's not doing it.
I know, but but I don't know. I mean, I guess that's something as I go in this journey that I just have to learn how to do. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to be known. It's so crazy. Like I don't want to be known. Like I just want to go help do work for people. And like I'm okay if they know me, and I'm okay if they talk to someone else and it's like, hey, he did a good job, but I don't want to be known. And it's so weird. I know I have to sit down and make the little thing. What I was gonna do for the next ones was just put like a little title screen, and I'd be like, I did it.
Well, this is a great transition, actually. So, as an entrepreneur, I've been in it for a few years now. You've been in it for a few months now. What has been the hardest thing for you in transitioning from, because I know for myself, like the 9 to 5 job, even though it was ministry, like jumping in and realizing that I don't have to work 9 to 5. Like I don't have a set plan. And I'm an organized person anyway. You know this. I'm very disciplined in my organization. But how have you handled that?
So I'm semi-organized, right? That's to do the disc profile thing, I'm a CD, right? So like I want to organize things and then get the work done. Honestly, what I have struggled with, but it's something that I've always struggled with. And it's basically what I just said. It's me, right? Like I have to get out from behind the scenes, like in a good way, right? So like I don't I started joining a BNI group. You have to talk every week about who you are and what you're doing. And I don't like it, but it's helping me.
Yeah.
Like I really don't. Like I am the guy who would prefer to sit in the closet, hand me my task that I need to do, and I'll get it done really, really well. But that's the kind of the struggle, is putting myself out there has been the biggest struggle. And honestly, it's really weird because I was thinking about this yesterday. The other thing I struggle with is my own social media. Like that's what I struggle with the most. I can help everybody else do theirs, but when it comes down to, all right, let's go do my posts for this week, I struggle with doing my own social media.
Why do you think that is?
What?
Why do you think that is?
Again, I think it goes back to just I'm afraid to be out there, right? Chris Climer is personally afraid to be out there. And so it's getting past that. And look, here's the thing. It's been 3 or 4 months. Like I know it's not going to happen overnight. Like that's my word for the year is patience.
Yeah.
Is learning patience and just learning that even a quarter of an inch step forward is still a step forward. And then eventually all those quarters of an inches become feet, which become yards, which becomes miles.
Yeah.
And so that has been the hardest thing, but also the most fun is that patience, because, where we worked and where I've worked at before in churches, it was do this, do that. You got a thing done and you moved on. Well, owning my own business now, I have to do all those things that all those other people were doing as well. I no longer have just the one thing that I need to get done. So it's been fun. I laughed this morning because I was talking to someone. I was like, I actually find myself still in the same, I don't want to call it a rut. A rut is the bad word, but the same situation where I still have to like wake up early to do stuff for me so that I can then do stuff for other people. Where before, like my mindset was, well, now I work for myself. I can set my own schedule. But when you have clients, you have to work around their client time.
Yep.
And so I think that's been the mindset that I've learned in the short time that I've had, is I have not reached that point yet where I can schedule myself whenever I feel like it. Like I have to go, this time it's either in the morning or it's in the evening after everybody goes to bed, or at least when the kids go to bed.
That's so good, Chris, because when I first started my business, I had that mindset too. But mine was more like I got to work 9 to 5. So I got to be in my office from 9 to 5, 9 to 5. And then I realized after a couple months, like this is not sustainable for me. And it's not me at my best. And so
Mhm.
what I found is I'm a morning person. So like my time in the morning is the most productive. And so I need to use that time for the things to be productive so that when I have my client calls and all these other meetings, I can do those outside of the morning time so that and sometimes I get done with a bunch of meetings. Like my networking day is Tuesdays and I will be networking all day. Maybe I'll get home at 2 o'clock and I'm like, you know what? I'm spent and I'm done. And I don't work the rest of the day. Now, granted, I do read a lot, so I might read a book or that's connected to
You're
growth.
you're you're always constantly thinking of what's the next thing you can
Yes.
do. You never. I don't think anybody ever really turns off. I think people
Yeah.
who say that they always turn off, I think they're a little naive. But that's a whole nother ball of wax to get
Right.
into. But yeah, so I was never good with boundaries before. I just want to help as much as I possibly can. But I've Wednesdays is the day that I connect with people. Wednesday is that day. I'm saying no to Wednesday.
Yeah.
And it's gotten some people, I don't want to say, it's not even mad or angry, but it's like, but that's the only day I can meet. I'm like, well, Wednesday is the day that I need to do my stuff.
Yeah.
I have all these other times we can make it work. I'll even it's not even like
That was,
I can't meet at 5 for 7 o'clock, but
yeah,
I'm not meeting on Wednesday.
that was a really hard transition for me because I love to serve people,
Yep.
but I do not show up at my best when I give myself away.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, yesterday I was meeting with a potential client and they were like, well, okay, well, how much do you charge? And this person used to be in ministry and I was like, well, I mean, I could do it for X amount. And they're like, that's not enough. This is what you're going to charge me. And it was triple what I said to them. And I
Yep.
was like, oh, okay. And it was really hard for me. But one of the things that we learn through this whole process of entrepreneurship, Chris, especially coming out of the environment that we were in, like in moving into business for profit, is that our time is valuable. And
Yeah.
and what we give to our clients is valuable. And that was a very difficult transition for me. It took me about a year to get to that point where I can like clearly say, this is what I charge and not feel bad.
Yep. Yep. And that that's going to be my difficulty right now. I already know it. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it for $100. I don't know where I was at. I don't know where I heard it, but it was definitely mind opening for me. It was, well, some people are going to say no because you're so cheap,
Yeah.
that they're going to think because you're not willing to charge, that they're actually not going to get as good of a product as if
Yep.
I were to charge
Yeah.
what I probably should. And even though it's hard for me, and I don't know if it's a character defect, like I don't know what it is. Like I don't want to call it a bad thing, but hearing that the other day was kind of like, oh, okay. It's almost better, again, to be patient and get the clients that you want to work with at the cost that you need than it is to always just help out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so
So
true because sometimes when you undersell yourself, then you end up with a client that ends up being difficult. They keep wanting more for what they're paying for, but you've already charged them such a discounted thing that,
yeah.
you've just hurt yourself like in the long run, right?
And possibly the industry that you're in, right? So if
Yeah,
I'm undercutting people, and it's not ill intent, right? Like it's not,
right.
well, what did they tell you? Okay, well, I'll automatically do $1,000 cheaper than that just so that I can get the business. But you can undercut the industry that you're in just by not charging enough. Now, I will say this, if you can't do the job to what you're charging, don't charge.
Yes.
Like if you're just starting out and you like, and all you can be, I'm going to use video references now, and all you can be is a tripod, and like everybody else is telling you what to shoot, what to point, how to set the camera up and stuff like that. But all you're there is to hit record and make sure nothing, turns off or anything like that. That's a much different than someone like for myself who can walk in and actually take the whole process from beginning to end. I just got to stop charging like I'm a tripod and start charging like I'm someone who can do the whole process.
So why do you love what you do?
So for me, I've always, again, if you go back, the Bible was created from people telling story, from telling story, from telling story, from telling story. The Old Testament, that's 100% what it is. Our history is created from my dad told his dad told him until this and that. Like, if we don't have that, I don't think we have a society. Like, I know it's kind of like a huge, like,
it's an interesting point.
You know what I mean? Like, if we don't have that, we don't know. Like, we don't know, what happened. So that you're right. The saying is, those who don't learn from their past are doomed to repeat it. Well, if I don't hear that story, I'm most likely going to repeat what has happened.
Yeah.
So that is one thing. That is one reason why I love to tell stories, why I love story. The other thing is that I think it's just the common denominator. It is the thing, like I said earlier, that will tear down pretty much any wall that you can have. If you're willing and honestly willing to listen to the other person. Heineke, the beer brand, they did a commercial, oh my gosh, I want to say 10 plus years ago or so. And it is my favorite piece of film, video, commercial material, period. Like, I'm not talking like I have my favorite movies, but this thing stands on top of all of those. And what it was they took two people that had opposite ideas. So let's, not to get too political, but I'm a Democrat or Republican, gay marriage, not gay marriage,
let's not go there on that one.
Right. No, we're not, but that's what they would do. They would bring those opposite sides and they would go, hey, would you, the narrator or whatever, the central person would come and say, this person believes this person believes this. Are you guys willing to sit down and have a beer? Some people said no. Some people walked away. But the people who sat down and had a beer and just talked and heard the story and listened to the story and truly wanted to understand the other side, you can see the power in those moments. I recommend anybody to look up that commercial. I think it's like a 2-minute long commercial.
I'm gonna look it up.
But that's what I love about story. It is the one thing I think that brings the true humanisticness, I don't know if that's the right word, out of us, right? So in the faith-based, right, I can't argue someone's testimony, right? If I get someone's testimony and they talk about how Jesus helped them through these things, right? I can't argue that. I can't. There's no argument towards that. I can't like, that didn't happen to you. Like, that's the dumbest argument you could give, is that didn't happen to you, when I literally just heard for an hour how it happened to you. So that's why I don't know, I love telling stories because of that. Like, it is, I think, other than comedy, I think that is the best way to break down walls and to connect with people.
That's really good.
So
I have to know, what's your favorite movie? I have to know.
So it's good. So it's kind of weird. So in the sense of overallness, my favorite movie is Schindler's List.
Okay.
But like the movies that I enjoy to watch are Halloween, like the Halloween
horror
series.
Movies?
Yeah.
I can't watch those.
This might lead into one of my things where I said WWE might come into play, wrestling might come into play. It's the long story form. That's what is so intriguing to me in how they tie it together. Like, so again, wrestling, I think WWE and anybody who does a wrestling company, besides Disney and some other people, they're probably some of the best storytellers, because how else can you get something that is not real, that is predetermined, right? To get people so ingrained with those characters. You know that it's been predetermined, but yet somehow the way they tell their stories and they craft the content, you are engaged. And that is what's, again, it's inspiring. Like, it's just like, holy cow, how do you continue to keep people engaged? If I told you a story, if we were at a church, I mean, we were, and you're going to see a testimony about someone coming to Jesus, you know the outcome already. They're not going to show you a video, right? That's like, no, I decided to go with the devil. They're not going to show you that. They're not, right? They're going to tell you exactly, this person did this person did this, and now I accepted Jesus Christ. But how we tell that story is still so moving to someone who has been a believer their whole life, that it still connects them to do something else.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I don't know if that actually answered it, or if I just went on a big tangent.
It did.
Of all the things that excite me about storytelling.
For me, baptism, watching someone be baptized is so moving for me. It just is moving for me. I don't know why, it just is. But okay, so I have a question that I'm hoping that you'll answer. So if you're an entrepreneur and it's just you, and you don't have the resources yet to hire you.
What you're saying is me.
No, I didn't say you. So what advice would you give to someone on how they can start telling their story without having to spend the money to hire someone like you currently? Because I think those types of things they're real. And this kind of goes back to what you said, like, I know if I help someone, it's going to come back to me. And to me, these are the types of things that help people. So when you give them, like, cause when I sit down with someone and have a one-to-one coffee and stuff, I always ask, how can I help you? And sometimes it's like, well, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know about this, or da, 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 da. I'm always like, well, hey, here's a resource, or hey, let me help you with that. Like, let's meet another time and I can sit down with you and help you map that out, or whatever. I don't do that a lot, but I do try to help people, that I know don't have the resources, but I want to help them with their business so that they can, continue to grow that and succeed. So what would the advice be for you or from you to entrepreneurs who don't have the resources to hire you, but could do some things on their own?
So the first answer is use what you have. Okay. So if you have a cell phone.
So think that someone doesn't know anything about this. What do they do? Do they pick up their phone? Do they make a video?
Pick up their phone, right? You just pick up your phone and you just go to your camera and you film just a little face-to-face, right? Like, it's as simple as that. Like, it's that simple. Like, things that I would suggest them to do would be, I'm going to point, like, find your windows, right? So that you have decent lighting, right? Like, I wouldn't go hide in your closet or anything like that. But like, just
somebody send me a video where they're hiding in their closet doing it. That would be awesome.
Right? Like, don't hide in your closet, right? Because you want to be able to see. Like, again, start. That's the most simplest thing I could say is just start. Use your phone. If you have an iPad or some sort of like a Surface or something like that, people do care about the quality eventually, but they're going to connect with you first.
Yeah.
And so if you can connect and you can tell your story, your quality of your equipment is not going to matter. It will, don't get me wrong, it will eventually matter, and it does matter, right? But if you're just starting out, it's better to do something than to do nothing.
Yes.
And so the simple things, like I tell, if I were to tell someone, let's say they know a lot about cooking, right? And they want to bring home cooking back to the home again. I would simply just talk about why home cooking matters to you and just record yourself. Why does home cooking matter to you? selfish plug for myself again. Like I love to cook. And the reason why I love to cook is because I feel like anytime someone has a meal, it gives them the energy to continue tackling what they're tackling. So it's super important for me, like to serve the homeless, right? Because that might be the only hope that they have that day is that meal. So I can now go on a whole long tangent of telling that story of why meals are so important. I can go back to my family and sitting around the table and getting the lessons from dad, right? Like that's what you have to find what you're passionate about and talk about what it means to you. And just grab your phone, grab your laptop, whatever has a camera on it. Try to get to the best light. When I say the best light, I mean the most light possible. There's a whole technical thing that we can go into.
Stepping outside your house and doing a video.
Yeah.
Like natural light. It's just there.
Yep. Sit on the porch. A good way to get like the best natural light is to actually open up your garage door. You stand in the garage. So now your whole garage door opening has become a light for you.
That's cool.
It's not the most appealing, right? Like no one wants to see someone's messy garage, but that's one of the easiest ways. Yeah. If you don't have big windows in your house, just open up your garage on a day, and now all that light just got let in, and you've got some very good, nice, natural light. But it all starts with why. Like it 100% starts with why. Just talk about that. And then you just slowly take it from there, and then you turn that into selling, right? Then you turn that into, here are the 5 steps to the best home cooked meal that you can have. Get my $1 PDF for your free, you know what I mean? Like, then you can turn that into selling. But up until that point, I still need to connect with you. If you just start selling to me, I haven't connected with you. That was a very long answer, I think, but that's what I would. Great.
I think it's some practical things that you said that, like, I didn't know the whole garage door thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But that's a great tip.
Yeah. Or like, so a lot of times when I'll do videos, I'll sit at my kitchen table where the porch, like go outside the back door, it's nice and big. That's always just good.
Wait,
nice,
where are your videos at? Because I haven't seen any.
Because I haven't posted any of them. They are things that sit in the archive. I always tell everybody, I'm just testing. I'm testing. And then they never make it anywhere.
You should put them on TikTok and stuff. I'm telling you.
I will eventually someday.
So let me ask you a question, Chris, because you alluded to this at the very beginning, and now this came up again. So I'm going to ask you this question. Sure. How do you think you can, because I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs that start their business and struggle with similar to what you're saying, like how do you build that confidence to be okay with putting your videos out there? And because they're like, I know I had the same thing when I first started my business. I was posting all kinds of things that I created, but never videos of myself. And I had a social media expert come to me and say, Amy, you've got to put videos of yourself out. People want to connect with you. They're going to buy what you do because of you. And I was like, I'm going to be on camera. Like I wouldn't have done this when I first started because my face is out there.
I'm kind of taking the similar step, right? So I am starting a podcast.
Yay!
I'm working on it, but basically it's just I'm going to gather other people's stories. So I'm kind of like you. All I'm doing is navigating them through their story, right? But I'm not the focus. So all I still get to be who I am and help people, right? So in that, I'm still selling who I am as a storyteller, right? And I'm taking those little steps, right? Like I'm doing the networking groups and I have to stand up and I have to talk. I think the only way you're going to get comfortable is by doing it. Like, I think that's really honestly the only way you're going to get better at it is if you do it. And at some point, we all have to put our big boy pants on, our big girl pants on and just do it. I think what it is finding a way to help you get comfortable in front of the camera, right? So I would say for you and I, like right now, it's doing the podcast style stuff, right? So I'm still kind of putting myself out there, but I'm still not the main, like it's not just me looking at my phone, kind of a thing. And then the other thing I would say is look at your kids if they're old enough, and bring them along with, because they can be the ones who capture behind the scenes stuff for you.
Yeah.
Right. So go back to the home cooking person, right? Who wants to talk about home stuff. I have an 18-year-old daughter. I got daughters who are old enough to, they understand, hey, hit record and stuff like that. Hey, can you guys just come hit record? Right. Because sometimes I think that's the step that at least for me, I'm like, well, I'm going to hit record. It's going to be all about me. But if I have someone just do it without me knowing I'm doing it, but I know that they're doing it, it's another small step. Right.
Yeah.
And then you start posting that and you start posting that. Also, I would get the thing that I'm learning now, and the reason why you haven't seen them yet, I post things privately. So I'm getting into the habit of posting, doing the muscle memory, and now it's just building. So like even doing this, it's building confidence, right? Like before we hit record, I said, I really don't want to do this. But I haven't shut up since the moment we got on. And so there's confidence building in me now. And so again, it's small steps, forcing yourself to get out of your bubble. That's just called growth, right? Like that's just called growing. And it hurts, right? That's why as a kid, you're growing.
Yeah. I was just sitting here thinking while you were talking, I was like, oh my gosh, like this doesn't bother me. I love doing the podcast because I love to talk to people. I like to have conversations with people. This is very comfortable for me. But you ask me to sit here and create a video with just me in it, I'm going to be like, I don't even know what to say. What am I doing here?
You overthinking, you get
totally.
I would say I get lost in my creative cloud in my brain where it's like, oh, I could have done it this way. Let me re-record it. Oh, I could have done it right. And so if I force somebody else to do it for me and I release that, I can release my brain now and I can just focus on doing the task, so to speak.
The more we step out of our comfort zone, the more we grow. Because it's very easy for us to stay within this little space and say, okay, well, I don't want to do that because it makes me uncomfortable. But the moment you step out of it, it's still uncomfortable at first. But the more that you do it, just like you said, the more that you've been on here, the more comfortable you've gotten because it's just a conversation. And it's the same for any social media that we might like. I got one of the guys that I network with, and he's like, you need to do lives on Facebook. I'm like, I don't want to do lives on Facebook. But they're not wrong too. They're not wrong. But
and some of that could just be simply just planning though, right? Like going live doesn't mean you didn't plan for it.
Right.
So some of it for you or anybody could just be like, I don't know what to do. So you get so stuck in what to do that you just don't do it. So this is what I actually love about AI right now for me is I need 5 ideas in this area just to help me brainstorm because I don't have anybody to brainstorm with right now, right? I don't have a staff and stuff like that, but I can program AI to act like something for me to then help me give ideas. Now I'm back into who I naturally am, which is executing. Mm-hmm. And then I can just start executing. It doesn't mean that those ideas were great. It doesn't mean that you have to stick exactly with what that AI suggestion gave you. You can tweak it, but just that initial thought wave will help you get through that, right? Like I also get stuck in the, I'm a big, do what I say, not what I do. So like whenever I teach someone, I go, hey, how do you eat an elephant, right? And they're like, I don't know, what the heck? No, it's one bite at a time, right?
Right.
So if you're trying to do something new that you've never done before, don't try to eat the elephant all at one time. Take one bite, move on to the next one. So for you, it might just be as simple as, I need to organize my thoughts first. So let's tackle that bite.
Honestly, these podcasts have been the best thing for me because there's things that I say in the conversation that I'm like, wow, that was really good. And then you clip them out and I'm like, Chris is amazing.
But see, here's the thing now, you can take, so like with AI right now, you can take that one clip that I had, put that into AI and go, help me devise a plan for 5 social media posts, just based off of that one idea. And because that off of your mind, now you can focus on doing.
Yeah.
So it's a little, for me, that's kind of the biggest thing is I'm trying to do what I tell other people to do right now because I'm in such a rush to be successful that I'm like, no, be patient. I have to like one bite at a time.
It's a lot easier to tell someone else how to do something and than it is for you to do it yourself sometimes.
Yes.
You know,
I have high expectations for myself, right? Like,
yes, you're hard on yourself.
Right. Like I think we're harder on ourselves than anybody else can ever be. Right. Yeah. We've heard this saying all the time where we work, right? We're not as bad as we think we are, but we're also not as good as we think we are. But we usually tend to just beat ourselves up on the bad. And that you and I know that's what I always do, right? Like that. So learning that stuff, I've only learned it by getting out of my comfort zone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. And learning the mistakes, but realizing that I wasn't doomed by my mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of where I'm at right now. I'm going to make mistakes, but I know I'm not doomed by mistakes. I have to quickly make up for my mistakes because I want to make sure my clients, get what they want, have the experience that they want so that they want to refer me to someone else or even get more business from them. Yeah. But that's where I'm kind of at is just one mistake at a time.
Actually, I'm glad you brought up the whole brainstorming thing because I've really been considering doing like a monthly virtual mastermind where business owners that are solopreneurs and can come in and we just do like bounce ideas off of each other. Because like sometimes you think you have this great idea. I have a mentor that I call, Claudia. I call her and I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about this. And she's like, well, Amy, as much as I love the idea, I don't think that's a good idea for you right now. And I'm like, well, why not? But she's great. She tells me right. And she's got my best interests at heart. And I think that's what I've been in masterminds before. I think they're great. And I think they're great for bouncing ideas off of each other and all that kind of stuff. So I'm glad you said that. I'm going to write that down.
Look, here's the thing. And that's the one thing that people need to remember. Ideas are just ideas until you put them into action.
Yeah.
So you can have 20 people giving you ideas that you then can look at and take it. It might work for you. It may not work for you. You just take it. They're just ideas. Yeah. And then you can take whatever fits for you and then turn them into actions. I had a thought in my head, but I totally forgot what it was.
Welcome.
And we're going to leave this into the podcast. Oh, I remember now. We're going to leave this in. So I can't remember who it was. And I'm pretty sure it was a podcast that you did. I'm 100% sure. It may not have been a podcast you did now that I'm thinking about it, but there's enough work for everybody.
Yes.
Like that mindset, like everybody can help everybody.
I did talk about this. Like I am not that person in networking that if you do the same thing that I do, like we're in competition. I'm not in competition with other people. Yep. I want to help everybody, but my mindset is this, like, I'm going to get the business that I'm supposed to get and you're going to get the business that you're supposed to get. I had a couple months ago, I'm in a BNI group as well. And someone wanted to come visit that does the same exact thing that I do. I'm like, yeah, come on, visit. Like, good. But there are some that I've gone to, they're like, wait, you do the same thing that I do. So you can't talk about this. I'm like, okay.
Right.
And I don't have a problem with that.
Right. And again, there's not just one restaurant in the world that you can go to. No. Like, I think those are the things that blow my mind more than anything else is I had a phone call with someone in California. I would never have thought of talking to someone in California. Like, I'm just in this little niche here. I have to be in this niche here. But even in this little niche here where we live in, the St. Louis suburb area, there are thousands upon thousands of opportunities that I don't know that you would actually eventually even overlap. And even if I do overlap, they chose someone else because of what they were looking for, not necessarily because I was bad or too overpriced. It's probably sometimes that's there, but a lot of times it's just more of a your style fits with what we're trying to
I
do.
call it flavor. Your flavor is different than my
Yeah,
flavor.
yeah,
I know that sounds really
exactly.
silly, but
Right, some people might be a little more fluffy in how they give advice, and they're a little more. Not
yeah,
that you're not caring or anything like that, but it's. But some people more hard nosed. Like, no, 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 no. You need to do this. We need to do this, and if we don't get these steps
yeah,
done, we're not going to get these things. And yeah, it just goes back to your flavor thought, right? And so
you know,
that's kind of the thing that I've kind of looked at is
yeah.
even just like when you post something, I'm like, hey, I know that person from a random conversation that I had with this person. And I'm like, holy crap, we are all connected. And that's one thing that I kind of regret when I was trying to do clients when I was doing a full time job is that I just didn't do a good job at it. And now I see all these connection points. I'm like, oh man, some of these are going to bite me in the butt, but that just leaves me an opportunity to make myself better. And with the current people that I have, make sure that their experiences
Yeah.
are the best to then counteract and rebuild the network and,
Yeah.
the name, so to speak.
I don't believe that our past interactions with things like what you just talked about are irreparable.
Yes.
Because I think that humility plays a huge piece in that, like going back to those individuals and just saying, hey, listen, like, I'm sorry, I really dropped the ball on this. And I mean, I have a client that I work with now that I'm a consultant with them, and I dropped the ball on something. It wasn't something major, but I dropped the ball, and I went back to them and I was like, hey, listen, I totally dropped the ball on this and I apologize, but I will fix it and I'll have it done by such and such time. And then I made
Yep.
sure that I had it done by such and such time. Um,
Absolutely.
and and I think that people value that because like for me to think that I'm going to be perfect all the time, that I'm always going to get it right and that I'm always going to get it done the right way is not realistic.
Right. And and again, I think that's a mindset that I've had to overcome, right? Like I'm going to make mistakes. I'm so afraid of making the mistake that I make the mistake.
Yeah.
And so it's more of I've got to get that mindset of, again, one step at a time, one bite at a time, slowly but surely plan it out, work the plan, and then
Yeah.
just move forward.
I
So
had a client in the upper New England states
yeah,
when I first started my business, and it just wasn't a good fit personality wise between the two of us. And also, it just, I didn't feel like I was really helping them. And so I approached them about it, told them that I didn't think it was really working, and they agreed. And I was like, hey, I've got someone else that I think might be a really
yeah,
great fit for you. And so I contacted that person, gave them the information, and they've been working together ever since. And it's a great pairing. Like I don't ever want to be that business owner that keeps people on as a client because of money. I want them to be with me because I'm helping them and they're seeing success through what we're
right.
doing together. And
Yep.
that goes back to the competitive thing, right? Right? Like I could have kept that client and then never passed them on to this other person and all those things. But what was more important to me was that that client had the right person that was going to be able to help them move forward with their business.
And I mean, and here's the thing. I think even that client then gains more respect from you, right? Like, they might actually reach out to you, not necessarily to work with them, but like, hey, you gave such a good recommendation before. We're looking for this. Do you know of anyone?
Right.
Right. And then maybe
Right.
it actually is you. I don't, you don't know, but at least you're not burning the bridge, right?
Right.
We're owning the mistake and going, hey, it's just not working. Um, Here's where I messed up. How can I help still? In
Yeah.
any way, shape, or form. Can I help you find someone else or whatever? I think it's an awesome thing. It's a humbling thing.
It is. It is. My personality is I want to drive forward and, you know, kick butt and take names. Like that's just
Yep.
part of my personality. But I've really learned over the years that, I can still have that, but I don't have to do it at the expense of not helping other people. Right.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
And that was a game changer for me. And I love it in my business now because even like I sit down with people and I've said this before on here, like at the end of each conversation, like, how can I help you?
Yep.
You know, that's important for me. I want to say that every single time because I want to be of value. My coach, when I first started my business, said this to me. He said, bring value to every person that you sit down with. And I thought, that's good. And I try to do that. I try to bring value to every conversation that I'm a part of.
Yeah. And again, we might not, it's hard for me because of, like, not to pity potty kind of a thing, like financially, right? Like for me, it's like I took what was a guarantee and now I don't have a guarantee. So I love that mindset of helping anyone, but there's still that little selfish person that just comes up and goes, how do I close the deal? How do I close the deal? How do I close the deal? And that's the voice that I'm trying to right now. I don't want to say kill, but quiet it. Because like we've said, and like I said earlier, is if we just help, eventually it's going to come back around, which then comes back to my word for the year, which is patience.
I love it. All right, Chris, final thoughts. What do you see for your business for the future?
Mhm.
What is the client that you're looking to work with? I know you said churches and nonprofits. Is there somebody else that you're looking to work with? And who do you want to be connected to? Who are you interested in connecting with? It doesn't have to be for a client, but maybe you're like, I'd really love to talk to a CPA, or I'd really love to talk to whatever it is.
Yeah. So the future for True North Creative and what I hope it becomes is a company that helps other. Brennan, for example, you know who Brennan is. I know other people don't know who Brennan is, but he's someone who's coming up through the video world who loves doing video. I want True North Creative to help bring hope to the world through stories. And the only way we're going to make a global impact is if I can help other people grow in their skills. So beyond just helping clients tell their stories, I have a huge heart for helping other video people who want to come up to help tell stories. Because if we continue helping each other grow, we can now spread hope and awareness for everybody across the globe. That's the why, so to speak. The clients that we're trying to currently help, besides nonprofit and churches, I'm really looking for those businesses that have kind of been around for 5 to 10 years who are just looking. They're doing everything, but that's all they're doing. They're just doing it. There's no impact behind it. They have the website, but they just have, here's my product, buy my product, right? There's no true why behind that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And also just help with social media ideas. I'm a big idea person. I want to give ideas and then let them tell me which way they would like to go and then help them down that path. I'm a big proponent in helping people grow themselves than me just constantly always getting a client to do stuff. Like I said before, we'll help anyone. But I really want to help people tell their story. If you're looking for a brand story or just video content in general, that is my expertise, but I can do a lot of other things. And that's why I like the 5 to 10 year people in business, or even one, right? I just want to help them have a good foundation. We're looking to help people get a strong foundation to what they're trying to do and get themselves out.
So if someone were interested in working with you, how would they contact you?
So they can email me at chris@truenorthcreativestl.com. Super long name. I hate it, but it helps. I wish I could
You don't
I wish it was shorter.
Don't say that you hate it.
No, I just hate that it's so long. It's the only thing that I really hate about it, is that it's just so long, but it has so much meaning to me.
What does it mean?
So True North is essentially, so it's a couple of things. The underlying is God is True North, right? So I got to keep focused on him, right? My True North. But I think the best way to True North to moving a business forward is by telling their story. That's what we do. We don't focus on 7,000 different ways to do something. We focus on one way, which is telling your story and then just moving forward through that. So yeah, that's kind of, but it's more of the true north with, keeping myself grounded. So if I say that name all the time, it does a couple of things for me. It keeps me grounded in who I am, but it also just reminds me of why I exist, why the gifts that I've been given.
So do you have like samples and stuff of some things that you've done on your website, or is it on
I do.
YouTube?
Yep. So I don't have a lot of YouTube stuff. There's a few samples on the website. I am currently finished building my website. So there's a couple of pages like our web page, like for building websites for people. I'm working on that page this week. But probably by the time this goes out, it'll already be done. But that's like my last page that I have to build is how we build websites and why we build websites. So, but everything else is there. I got a couple of free things on there that people can download, and get into as well. Plus, like one of the free things is like a 30-day social media, actual outline. So you'll get copy and like, here's 2 posts for this week, 2 posts for this week. So I think it's eight to 10 posts. It's just a sample of how we can help and stuff like that.
Sure. So your website is truenorthcreative.com.
Nope, truenorthcreativestl.com.
Oh, sorry, STL. I forgot.
No, you're good. So if you go to True North Creative, you're going to get some company in Florida. And I tried to call them because they hadn't been doing anything for a long time. I was like, hey, do you guys really need the name? And they're like, yes, we do things every once in a while. And I was like, all right, fine. So I did the STL just so that it can separate me, so that I could actually have the name. Because it was like the other ones were like the _ True North under. I'm like, I'm not going to tell people, right, hey, True North this. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, Chris, thank you so much for being on. It's always a pleasure having conversation with you. And why are you laughing?
Because this is just how our conversations go. It's great conversation. It's just good. We have fun. We make mistakes, and it's just good. It's fun stuff. I enjoyed.
We can be real. Talking. That's what I love. We could just be honest and real. But no, seriously, thank you so much for being on, and thank you so much for being a sponsor for our podcast.
Yeah.
And, I say our because you're part of that now because you're doing.
Sure, totally. So, yeah.
Anyways, yeah. If you want to get in touch with Chris, Chris at truenorthcreativestl.com, or you can go to his website, truenorthcreativestl.com.
See, even how you said it right there, it's really long.
No, it's kind of got a little bit of a ring to it. I like it. Well, thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Amy. It was fun.
All right.